The information that I am about to lay bare in this documentary might terrify you. It might disturb your faith in everything you ever thought about the current political landscape. I know it did that to me. But I have to stress that we do not know the full truth of the matter at this point. The information I'm going to lay bare is just information, just a series of facts. I don't know the larger story. I have to be completely honest and transparent. I'm a serious social scientist. We live in very divisive times. Fake news is a serious problem. Mistrust is a serious problem. The spread of rumors and gossip on the internet, it's terrible. It's really bad for society. Keeping that in mind, I'm now prepared to share with you what I know. This story began for me when I was reading the recent Vox article written or published on June 1st, 2018, called The Religious Hunger That Drives Jordan Peterson's Fandom by Tara Isabella Burton. The article is at first about the alt-right and Jordan Peterson, but then it also becomes about someone on the internet named Bronze Age Pervert. First of all, it's quite good. It's very thoughtful, even generous. But I think I was really struck when all of a sudden Bronze Age Pervert appears as a focus of the article, seemingly out of nowhere. Among culturally telling permutations of the wider alt-right, Twitter is an internet personality known as Bronze Age Pervert. Now, why Bronze Age Pervert? There's so many personalities she might have picked. How did she find him? Why is she highlighting him? It's all very ad hoc and out of nowhere. And then I decided to look into Bronze Age Pervert, who I never actually read before. I think I might have seen the name around, but never really read him. So I go over to the Twitter of Bronze Age Pervert, and oh shit, he's blocked me. This is actually happening right now. I was looking at his account throughout the day, writing this, planning this, preparing for this video. So I think he's on to me, basically. Again, I don't know what's going on. It's a little suspicious if you ask me. Not exactly, a smoking gun that these people are up to something nefarious, but, it's not a good look either. I don't know why he blocked me. Right after I read the Vox article, I noticed that BAP had released an ebook of his writings to significant global acclaim, I would even say. I mean, the marketing was seriously impressive, truly compelling. I mean, I wanted to buy it. There were lots of people tweeting about it, very enthusiastically, from all over the world. And I was like, wow, this is really something else. But then I thought about it, and I noticed that the ebook was published 3 days after the Vox article. Now, it's nicely formatted, and it has a nice cover. It has a nice, well-written, calculated description. Pushes all of the right buttons of consumer psychology. Looks like it was all pretty well thought out. And, I guess it's pretty easy to publish on Amazon, but it's not that easy to lay out an ebook and to write all of the copy and to post everything on social media over the course of several days. That stuff takes at least a little bit of time. I would think it, in most cases, more than even a few days. So the fact that it came out with all of this thoughtfulness only 3 days after the Vox article, I don't know. I'm not making any accusations. It just makes me wonder if there was maybe a little bit more coordination between Tara Burton and Bronze Age Pervert than either of them publicly would have allowed us to see. And then I learned something even more peculiar. Tara Burton, the author of the Vox article, launched her novel in New York on June 5th, literally the day after Bronze Age Pervert dropped his book. Okay. Interesting. So these people are both having book release parties on the same week, and apparently they're, sliding into each other's DMs for this interview for the Vox article. Well, now if that's not strange enough, I happened to come across Tara Burton's Instagram. And by the way, she seems really cool. She looks genuinely really cool. I would love to hang out with her. Tara, if you're reading this, hit me up. We could make a video or do a podcast or something. She's got really good style, but what I noticed was that she likes to, how should I put this, dress like a Victorian lady or like a jazz age girl. She seems to, on multiple occasions, kind of live action role play. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not player hating. That is cool. She looks good. You do you, Tara. But it's pretty rare for people to kind of pretend that they are, living in a historical epoch. Not that many people do that on a regular basis. But do you know someone else who does that? I can think of one, at least one. Bronze Age Pervert. So here we have two people who are interested in religion, or let's say non-secular, non-mainstream worldviews, who apparently were talking behind the scenes to some degree, because Tara writes about him in the article, in their conversations, who are both launching books. Bronze Age Pervert doing it immediately after the drop of an article that one might think is vaguely opposed culturally and ideologically. And they both like to live action role play as people from bygone eras. Yeah, maybe it's all a coincidence, okay? That's fine. I have a very open mind. Now, there's one more observation I noticed. If you look at the very last line of Tara's Vox article, there's a very cryptic comment about the need for storytelling. It's almost a call to arms about how we need to engage in greater storytelling. Kind of along the lines of BAP stories. Although she's critical of him, she seems to be saying that BAP is occupying a cultural terrain that progressives should occupy just as well. The terrain of mythical, historical storytelling. So she, even in her own words, seems to be telling us at the end of her article that she's sincerely interested and willing to play some major four-dimensional chess with her audience. Okay, that ends this chapter. Okay, so look, you need to subscribe now. You're not going to want to miss what's coming up next. We're going to talk about Moldbug and his connection with Rosie Gray at the Atlantic. It's not what you think it is. Wow, that's a doozy. We're going to talk a little bit about Tucker Carlson, who is involved in this. Basically, we're talking about some four-dimensional chess like you've never seen before, or ever heard of even before. We're going to talk about, looking through my notes here, we're going to talk about Rosie Gray at the Atlantic. Her father is literally a neo-reactionary. I don't know how many of you know this. He's a neo-reactionary novelist. I've done some quantitative network analysis looking at Twitter connections and the overlapping subsets of followers between some of the key players in this network. I'm not kidding you. What this really all boils down to is trying to figure out who Bronze Age Pervert really is and what exactly is the game being played by these progressive Cathedral journalists. We are going to talk about a very unknown single PhD student from France who none of you have ever heard of, most likely, and who no one would think to connect to this story, except I've uncovered a connection through my network analyses. And we're going to talk even about, you guessed it, Trump and Russia connections here. I'm not kidding. I'm not making this up. Actually, even more interesting, the mainstream story about Trump-Russia connections is quite a misnomer. What we're really going to be talking about with the alt-right Cathedral axis connecting Vox and Bronze Age Pervert is actually the Georgia lobby, which is adjacent and proximate to the Russia-Trump issue, but very different. I think what we're seeing right now play out in the pages of Vox is some internecine warfare from the Russian region. It's very complicated. It's going to take me at least a few chapters to spell all of this out, but I think by the end we're going to have a much clearer picture of what's really going on here.